That one. All the way down here. There's the notification. Rightio, we should be live and on the air. Well, all those who will join the stream inevitably, hello and welcome to round 18 of the PS4 America series here on Spec Esports. Finally, this roller coaster of a championship hits its final leg. We're here in the Americas, namely Central America, here for the Mexican Grand Prix at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. It's not a particular circuit I'm a massive fan of, but I make no secret of that fact. But it's still a racetrack that provides plenty of fantastic racing, particularly in F1 2019, I have to say. Definitely going off what happened last night on Pacific Series, it was absolutely awesome stuff. Of course, the very first comment has to be banana cake pie. It just... of course, it just kinda has to be. But finally, I think we're all sorted. We're all ready to go. So let's get this session underway. It's time to begin short qualifying here at the Mexican Grand Prix. Now, before qualifying actually takes place, it's probably best that we talk about this epic championship, this tale of three drivers who have been battling it out throughout this championship. Currently leading it is BRT Fas, the Brazilian driving for Mercedes-Benz, currently leading on 325 points, with Alpum in the Racing Point on 313. The gap only 12 points, and with 4 races remaining, the championship is still very much in the air between those two. And an outside contender, an American in a Ferrari in the form of Matthew Dernier on 258 points. He is 67 behind Fas and 55 behind Alpine. But on the upcoming tracks, including this one, they seem to be tracks where anything can happen. So he's still very much in contention to fight for this driver's championship. He just needs a couple of good races under his belt, and he needs a top 2 in front to get involved in some of the chaos in the next 4 races. Now, get all this telemetry up, the lap data, full track map, there we go, we'll hide that, and we'll get this 18-minute qualifying session underway. And the first driver out, I believe, is Racer X in the Williams. He will be the first driver to set a flying lap. He's got a Red Bull following him out, and it's Andre, driver that we often see in the top 5, fighting for the... Yes, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. I probably butchered that pronunciation, by the way. I'm sorry if I have. Us Australians aren't very good at saying any other language other than Australian. This 4.3 kilometre circuit, or 2.67 miles, has 17 corners. The key corners that we have to look out for this race, definitely turn 1 and turn 4. Very good spots for overtaking as they come after DRS zones. And here's another key section of the circuit. Turn 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. This S section in the second sector. It demands a lot from you. It requires a lot of rhythm and flow. And you really need to abuse the track limits throughout that second sector in the S's. You have to be perfect. If you aren't abusing the track limits, you aren't going quick enough. But if you abuse them too much, you gather warnings and eventual penalties. Or at least in qualifying, your lap will be invalidated. But to take you around the lap proper, we're going to ride on board with Mr. Racer X. He's coming down the enormous pitch straight. It is 1.2 kilometers long. From the first grid slot all the way up to the apex here at turn 1 is 800 meters. It is definitely one of the longest in Formula 1. Through turns 1, 2 and 3 goes another technical section, another section that demands you to cut every corner in order for you to remain competitive. Into turn 4, one of the 2 overtaking spots on the circuit. Turn 5 into turn 6, sort of a weird double apex hairpin. Climbing up through the gears now into the second sector S's. Turn 7, turn 8, turn 9. Not quite abusing the track limits enough. He tries there, but it's an invalidation. There we go. But was right on board with the lap anyway, just to show off. The third sector on the circuit. And in my opinion, this sector is the most useless bit of racetrack ever designed in racing. I have commented this many times in many different streams, so I probably don't need to say it again. But in my opinion, it is well and truly the most useless piece of track design ever. Considering it's supposed to be the highlight of the circuit, nothing actually goes on there. There's no overtaking, there's no racing, there's no nothing. It's just a choke point for the cars to slow down, so then the cameras get a good look at them sponsors. Andre also went into the pits, so he must have invalidated his lap. Matthew Dernier, he's coming into the pits as well. Oh, Latour, dearie me. As Alpine shoots up to the top of the table. Now, the pole lap for the Tier 2 Pacific Series was a 1 minute 14.4. That's already been completely and utterly obliterated with a 1:13.9 from Alpine. So, and that's only at the beginning of the session as well. So, expect times to tumble. Definitely towards that low 13 region. Fast going through the second sector S's at the moment. All the way up into hot lap, and he's invalidated as well in that second sector. Very easy to do, incredibly easy to do. It seems even the best drivers are vulnerable to gathering warnings in that second sector, but he's going to commit to another lap, it seems. Or not. Maybe he's doing a bit of racing simulation, perhaps. Not completely sure. Captain Schmeg is coming through the stadium section now. Third gear, will he use second gear? Yep, he most certainly will. Has a bit of a moment on the apex, recovers well. And it's a 1 minute 18.5. Those drivers, yes, they have set times on the mediums. Explains why they're so far off the pace. Now the tyre strategy around this place, you've got one of two options. You do the one stop, which is either soft, you can do a soft to medium, it's a bit of a stretch, but it is possible. I have seen people do it. But mainly, if you want to do a one stop around here, it's soft to hards. Or, you do the two stop, which is probably a soft medium run. I'm not sure. Soft medium might work. If you don't want to use the softs for too long, they do burn up around this circuit. And Fast invalidated again on that second lap. And then he comes into the pits, championship leader, Matthew Dernier. This will be an interesting lap to watch on the soft compound tyre. So yeah, it's either softs to hards for the two stop. It depends. If you want to ask which one's better, it sort of depends on what you want as a driver. If you want track position towards the end of the race, the one stop is clearly better because you do one less pit stop. However, if you're good, if you're like stupidly fast in comparison to the rest of the field, and you want to maintain that sort of pace over the entire course of the race, and if you can maintain that sort of pace across the course of a race, then the two-stop probably works for you. it's an interesting bit of strategy around here at Mexico, as Matthew Dernier invalidates in the S's. I'm imagining he's just going to hop back into the pit lane, put on another fresh set, go out again. Flavius coming through the second sector now, the beginning of the second sector, into the hairpin of turn 6. Nice and gentle on the throttle. Now coming into the S's, turn 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So those are two through relatively well, but sort of driving within the white lines. Now, unfortunately, that isn't the quickest way through. You really do have to abuse everything around this circuit. By not abusing the track limits, you are simply not going quick enough. Out of turn 16 into 17. Also, another tip for those watching: when you're completing a flying lap, don't leave your car hanging on the left-hand side of the circuit when you're coming out of the final corner. Try and keep it as far to the right as you possibly can, sort of right up against the curb, because you're driving that much longer on the circuit by staying on the left, by staying on the racing line, more or less. Try and keep it as far to the right as possible. I'm sure a driver like Fass would know this, or maybe even Alpine. We'll stay on board with Fass. Let's see how the championship leader does it around Mexico City. Climbing up through the gears, DRS open. What's that speedo climb? It's one of the highest speed circuits on the calendar. Climbing towards 210 miles an hour. Heavy braking zone of turn 1 just before the 50-meter mark. Locking up the front right, but hasn't cost him too much time. He is carrying plenty of momentum. Out of turn 3, a very nice run out of turn 3. Tries to carry as much speed onto the straight. Heavy on the brakes. Second gear. Down to first gear for turn 5. Will he use first gear here? Yes, he will. As Alpine beats his own time by 1/10 of a second, I do believe, on 1 minute 13.730. Through the S's, there's Racer on the outside. Look at that, beautifully flowed through there by Fass. Into sector 3, the beginning of the stadium section, turn 12 into turn 13. And turn 14 and 15. And the final two corners, turn 16 and turn 17. There we go. Keep it as far to the right as you possibly can. And it's a 14.2. He is half a second off the pace of Alpine. That is a big, big, big difference between those two. What about Matthew Dernier? What has he got in the tank? That is an absolutely awesome lap from Alpine. If he goes out for one more, I'm definitely riding on board with him. I want to see how the man conducts himself around this circuit, to find half a second between him and his championship rival. See, it's not just second place, it's his championship rival that he's beating by half a second. That's absolutely awesome. Matthew Dernier through the chicane in the first sector. Hasn't copped an invalidation, not quite just yet. Into turn 4. Locking up a little bit. Hasn't cost him too much momentum though. Using as much curb on the left-hand side. Try and open up turn 6 into the S's. Trying to abuse those track limits. Very nicely flowed through there by Matthew. Here we go, into turn 12. This is another potential overtaking spot. It's a bit more difficult to do, but it's very much achievable. Third gear, interesting. Third gear through that hairpin. Third gear again, out of turn 16 into 17. It's a 1 minute 14.7, puts him P4. 1 second behind Alpine in P1. My word. I'm sure these guys can step it up towards Alpine, but that's an almighty mountain to climb to try and reach P1. But closing on 5.5 minutes to go. They're running out of time to do so. Exactly, Dreamsy. Alpine. And exactly like in Japan. Just a monster in qualifying. Oh, and Toddster, you're watching. Good to see. Andre for the win. We got some support here for the Red Bull driver. He's been very consistent in the past couple of races. Definitely in a sort of best of the rest position. That's for sure. Definitely been fighting it up there for those top 10 places. Not quite for the top 3. They seem to be taken by these three, Macedonia, Fass and Alpine. But Thais, he's been up there as well. Same with Bean Sandwich in the Racing Point. Been incredibly competitive. And JFD, Macedonia's teammate. Awesome qualifying so far in 5th place. Looking like a good day for the Ferrari team. They need it for the constructors with 4 rounds to go. He must be on an in-lap. We'll go on board with the racer. I believe he's on a flying lap. He has it chucked up into hot lap mode. That was close to invalidation. That's an invalidation. He was dancing. He was dancing his way through the S's. I thought he would have got an invalidation at either turn 10 or turn 11, but he didn't. No, he got a track extending warning instead. He has to come into the pits. Quite a tricky pit lane here at Mexico as well. An incredibly tricky one. It's very, very difficult to pick up where you need to start braking for pit entry. But Codemasters were nice. They put down a bollard where you should start braking when you start turning in. A very easily breakable bollard, that is. As you can see, it's not actually on the circuit at the moment. So for those who aren't using Racing Line, it's going to be a bit of a struggle going into the pit lane. As ALAS Purple jumps up to 7th position for Renault, a 1 minute 15.4. It is incredibly close between some of these guys. Got Lutube driving for Alfa Romeo in 6th place, a 13.3. Purple a 15.3. Purple a 15.4. Andre a 15.5. Same with Bean Sandwich a 15.5. And 2/10 behind him is Racer on a 15.7. So we've got this nice little group here in the midfield. Currently jousting each other. Oh, that's definitely a validation. Luckily he's on an outlap. Oh! Ooh! Did you see that, ladies and gentlemen? That's Alpine getting a sneaky toe. Alright, gotta ride on board with this. Oh. He's pulled out of a lap. Okay. I was going to ride on board with him for the lap, but he's pulled out. I wonder what he's going to do. And he's got his teammate behind. There's Bean Sandwich. Now I'm sure what the plan was is that Alpine gives Bean Sandwich a tow after he's finished his flying lap. Like what Bean Sandwich just did for him there on the pit straight, but no. Oh, okay. So he's going to try and give him a tow anyway. Okay. He's going to stick to his promise. So Bean Sandwich was trying to give Alpine a tow, but I think he invalidated through the chicane. Alpoom, the gentleman that he is, returns the favour. Sandwich goes through. Now, does Alpoom have enough time to set another flying lap? I don't think so. Beam Sandwich currently in 9th place. He's up by almost 0.4 of a second. Bit over 3.5. That is absolutely massive in a sector that only has 3 corners. Shows you how powerful the toe is around this circuit. Into turn 7, turn 8. He needs to be absolutely perfect through here. Riding up against the curbs quite nicely. He could probably abuse it a little bit more, but he hasn't. Into turn 12. You can really use the track on the left hand side there. Can really use a lot of it. You don't get warnings for it for some reason going through turn 12. Now he'll hug the right hand side and it's a 1 minute 14.5. He improves by a whole second. Qualifies P4. Is this going to be the pole position lap? I wonder. Racer's retired from the session. He can't do anything better than 10th. Fast coming to the end of the second sector. He's only up by a 10th. He's not even going to crack into the 13s, it seems. Unless he has an almighty third sector. Through turn 16, into turn 17. He hugs the right hand side. It's a 1 minute 14 flat. It's not enough. I think Matthias, it's showing outlap, but when it does that, I think he's invalidated. We'll wait and see. Through the final corner. Yeah, he must have just invalidated. Dernier comes up to the line. He doesn't improve. He's staying in P6. And JFD, he's coming into the pits, so he can't improve. It's P7 for him. Latouf is P8. Purple P9. Kimi, reserve driver for McLaren, will start P10. Anyone else on a flyer? I think Solano is. But no, they pulled out of the lap ages ago, it seems. But there we go. Alpoom. An absolutely epic lap. I wonder what he could have done if he hadn't invalidated his first lap. I wonder what he could have done. He sets a 1 minute 13.7 and gets a very healthy pole position by almost 0.3 of a second to his championship rival, BRT Fass. Then we got Matthias in P3, Sandwich in P4 with that very handy toe that Alpoom given on his final flying lap. Andre will start P5, a great start for the Red Bull driver. Matthew Dernier P6, P7 goes to his teammate JFD in the Ferrari, Latouf P8, LAS Purple P9, and Kimi rounds out the top 10. Racer X will start from 11th, John Neves P12, Schmeg in P13, Solano P14, LAS Skid P15, Tifosi P16, Sanel P17, and Flavius rounds out the grid in P18. So, with qualifying out of the way, it's time to begin the race here at the Mexican Grand Prix. Wet, I wonder? Is it going to be raining? Ooh, maybe. Oh, okay, Racer. Did not know that your teammate screws up your lap. Okay. There we go. Not very good stuff between the two Williams drivers holding each other up during qualifying. You definitely don't need that. But one thing that I've learnt during league racing when I have a teammate, if we really want to try and work together, you need to establish a form of communication between the two drivers, between yourself and your teammate. If you don't have that communication, it's very difficult to ask favours from your teammate or to get them to do something while Like, for example, when you're on a flying lap, although they should be aware, all drivers should be aware of other drivers on circuit during qualifying, it definitely helps to have some sort of communication with your teammate. Maybe it's something that you two can work out as teammates for the Williams team. But regardless, Solana should know the position of other drivers on circuit, around him at the very least. None more so than his teammate. But the drivers are now currently on their formation lap. Now let's have a look at what some of the strategy... Oh, well, okay. So everyone will be starting on the softs except for Captain Schmeg. Okay, that makes my job a lot easier. So, what will Captain Schmeg be doing? Maybe the one stop from mediums to hards. It isn't quite as quick as softs to hards, but you don't have to worry about the condition of the hard tyre towards the end of the race, so it puts less stress on the driver. You don't have to worry about the tyre strategy as much. Or, you'll be trying to do a two-stop, an unorthodox two-stop. From mediums to possibly softs, then another set of softs maybe. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be an interesting kind of strategy from Captain Schmeg. But the drivers are now lining back up onto the grid, into their respective grid slots. And we're going to get this race underway. 36 laps here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. That makes up the total race here at the Mexican Grand Prix. The drivers are all lined up, they're all ready to go. I'm just going to get a sneaky on board just so then I know when the lights are actually going to come on. Here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go here in Mexico. I have to say that was very, very quick from the lights. They typically stay on a little bit longer. And look at this. This is one of the best sights in Formula 1, I think. Here we go. Watch this camera shot. It is 3 wide between everyone into turn 1, and a massive dive bomb from the Ferrari, and it looks like Andre almost got spun round, but not quite. Alpine having a horrid start from pole position. He falls down to 4th place. It seems he's side by side with the Ferrari, I believe, of Matthew Dernier. Into turn 4, into turn 5. Alpine hangs on to the position around the outside, and it seems everyone gets through relatively okay. And it was Matthew Dernier he was fighting, and now being sandwiched is trying to get on to this as well. Tries to make a move into turn 7, but it's a very difficult thing to do. Through this second sector, it's very much follow the leader sort of stuff. Can't really make any sort of overtaking maneuvers in that second sector. But amazingly, everyone gets through really, really well. And I mean everyone gets through really, really well. No yellow flags, no accidents, nothing. That's probably the first time I've seen a Mexican Grand Prix with little to no incidents. -1. If I bring up position change, you'll be able to see it a bit better. BRT, Andre, falls down from 5th to 12th on the first lap after making contact at turn 1, but he's still going and very much in the mid-pack. So it's not done and dusted for him. He's still in a good place to score some solid points for the team. There we go. Currently now, that is a horrible camera shot. Down the inside goes Captain Schmeg on the medium tyre. Tries to fight it around the outside, but he can't hold it there. Softer tyre has way too much grip. They're just able to put the power down, it seems. So, lap 2 of 36. Seems that people are broken off into their respective groups. Fast leads with Matthias in 2nd and Alpine in 3rd place. Top 3 have broken away from the mid-pack. Mid-pack led by Matthew Dernier. 1.3 seconds separates him to Alpine, as Matthias sets a new fastest lap, a 1 minute 18.584. But it seems that Matthew is slowly closing in on the trio in front. But it will ultimately be for nothing if he can't get within 1 second. He needs to... Oh, and he's lost it completely by himself! I don't believe it! He's had a moment coming out of turn 3. Oh, dearie me, just too early on the throttle. And a missing end plate as well. Too eager on the throttle, far too eager on the throttle. And then spun himself around all the way down to 16th place. Oh, dearie me. That might be game, set and match for Matthew Dernier in the driver's title. But we'll have to wait. There's still a lot of racing to go ahead here in Mexico. We're only 3 laps into a 36-lap race. Oh, and Spec has had a moment. Virtual safety car has been deployed. You could see it there in the background of that camera shot. Hopefully Andre will be able to see it. But I've done this as well. As LAS Purple gets a drive-through penalty for speeding. There's Captain Schmeg's car. Very, very much dead on the circuit. I think a lot of us has fell victim to that. Has this saved Matthew, I wonder? Onto the medium tyre, okay. I thought he would go onto the hards, to be honest. I know for a fact that they can make it. I have done it myself from lap 4. I believe it was lap 4. It was either lap 4 or lap 5. I pitted onto hards and they got to the end of the race. Well, I didn't get to qualify that race. I started last, which I think was 17th, and I ended up finishing 4th here in Mexico. It's not a circuit that I'm particularly fond of, but it seems I'm pretty alright around it. So the hards, they can make it. If you're nice enough with the car, nice enough on the throttle, on the brakes, on the steering, and you don't lock up too much, they can make it. They'll be dead. Like, they'll be very dead, but they can make it. But with the virtual safety car ended, it's now Mercedes 1-2, then Racing Point 3-4. Top 4 really bunched up after that virtual safety car restart. As we've got a bit of battling going on back here. Racer moves to the inside, overtaking JFD in the Ferrari for 6th place. Let's see what else is going on. We've got a little battle here. John Neves and Kimi side by side. Oh, and there was contact between those two. Down the straight, dearie me. Bit unnecessary stuff between those two. Just give each other the space. Just get through okay. But no, there was definitely a little bit of contact between those two. Luckily, it didn't result in anything. But what a moment. Dearie me. And here's your top 4. It's probably the battle to watch. Fast still leads with his teammate in P2, Alpin P3, and Bean Sandwich with the best seat in the house in P4. We're right on board. Coming up to the pit straight, the almighty pit straight, 1.2 kilometers long this straight. DRS open. He's chucked it up into mode 4. Is anyone looking for an overtake? Doesn't really seem like it. Matthias might be. Doesn't commit to it. Oh, but fast, locking up into turn 1. Inside front tyre. It's just going to be absolutely screaming at the moment. Constantly locking up into turn 1. And I saw drivers locking up here into turn 4 as well. As Matthew Dernier sets a new fastest lap, as I imagine he would on the freshest tyre, and also with him being in angry mode after that mistake. Into turn 6, around the outside, tries Racer X. Here we go. This is the awesome aerial shot that we sometimes get. Codemasters really need to make use of these. These are some really awesome shots. Through the S section, Latup taking advantage of the clean air in front, Racer losing a lot of time, just sitting in the dirty air. Doesn't quite have the downforce of the Alfa Romeo in front. But on the pit straight, oh. How on earth has he done that? Fass has pulled out a 1.4 second lead over Matthias. Matthias now being overtaken by Alpine, and I'm sure Sandwich might have a look as well. He's not quite close enough. Racer around the outside. Latouf goes defensive. They're side by side. They turn and there's contact. And the Alfa Romeo driver will in turn lose 2 positions. In fact, Racer will lose a position as well. Oh, this is some great stuff here between these guys. JFD moves into P5. Fully takes advantage of the situation between the Alfa and the Williams, fighting for what is now P6 and 7. And Kimi has not caught on to the back of it as Racer gets a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. So we've got a 4-way fight for 5th place. We've also got a 4-way fight for the lead. Matthias has lost the position to Alpine as Fass comes into the pit lane. I wonder what he's doing. The 2 stop. Onto the medium tyre. And away he goes. So he's negating the undercut by doing this. Will Racing Point respond? I wonder. Solano into the pits as well for Williams. Onto the medium tyre. It's a 2-stop as well. Dernier sets a new fastest lap. Those medium tyres are very much switched on. There's Andre down in 14th place. 2 drivers that qualified quite well, all the way down at the back of the pack. They'll be desperately trying to find a way back to the front. Desperately will need a safety car. Let's go back up here, shall we? Look at this. Awesome stuff. 4 different teams as well. Just a beautiful array of colour battling each other through the S's into the stadium section. As one of the racing points comes in, it's been sandwiched. Alpine and Matthias stay out. Oh, and Sandwich onto the hard compound tyre. He'll be trying to go to the end of the race. Where does Fass come out? Well in front of being sandwiched. That's the power of the undercut. Comes out in P10. Almost 4 seconds behind the race leader. Something's happened to JFD at the chicane. He was in 5th. Or was 5th until being sandwiched came into the pits. And he's got a missing end plate as well. I wonder, was it like his teammate? Did he lose it by himself, or was there a helping hand? He was very much in a battle between Racer, Kimi and Latouf. Latouf, complete front wing. Same with the McLaren. There's no tail, any sort of tail. Oh, wait a minute. There's a... No, it doesn't. Okay. Williams has no damage as well. Alpine comes into the pits. What will he be doing? The hard strategy. He'll be doing the 1-stop. So the 3 yellow flags. Fass sets the new fastest lap. How far in front? Where does his teammate come into this? Oh, he's well behind his teammate. And he's well behind Fass as well by 2.8 seconds. Yep, about 2.8. Some more drivers coming into the pits. Racer, John Neves, JFD, LAS Skid and Flavius, all of them into the pit lane. Yeah, Paul JFD. There was nothing obvious on the other cars that suggested there was contact. Doesn't mean there wasn't though. And with that front wing change, he's now fallen well off the back of the likes of Racer. Fallen well off the likes of Racer. Fast gets a 3-second time penalty now. Multiple warnings. We've got a battle here as well. Kimi and Latube. So now gets a 3-second time penalty. Now, will either of these drivers be coming into the pit lane? Yes, they both will. Into the pits, nice and easy. Trying not to get a penalty. Fast on 1 minute 17.9. So, what about Alpoon? He's now 3 seconds behind Fast. Now, Fast doesn't necessarily have to open up a sort of pit stop gap to Alpoon in this stint. He doesn't necessarily need to do that. He only needs to do half of that in this stint. He has to try and recover the other half in the second stint. Transit here in the pit lane is fairly long, so he'll probably need somewhere in the region of about 10, maybe 12 seconds, I imagine. Minimum 8, I feel. The gap between Alpoon and Fast. Fast needs to open up about an 8-second gap. Minimum. As Matthias now comes into the pit lane. This will be a more telltale sign. So it was about 13 seconds, the gap between Fast and Matthias. We'll put it on to leader. Because I'm feeling that Matthias will come out behind both racing points here. Or it's going to be close. No, easily got him actually. So it was about 13 seconds. How far behind is Matthias coming out of the pits? 8, 9 seconds. 9.2, 9.4. So it's about 22 odd seconds, maybe 23 second transit. In terms of overall race pace difference. So Fast needs to open up at least an 11-second gap if he wants to do sort of half the work in this stint and half the work in the next stint. At the moment Alpoon is doing a superb job, as something's happened in Sector 1. I think it was Sunel just having a moment in the first sector. We'll go up here as well. There seems to be a battle for 7th place raging on. Not too far in front is Racer X, only 1.5 seconds in front. Into the hairpin. Gap hasn't really closed down between the two. So the two very much in danger from the McLaren behind. Now yes, the Alfa Romeo is quite a fair way in front, but the sheer speed that DRS provides, he'll gain that up very quickly. Andre into the pits actually to get a front wing change. Onto the hard tyre. He'll be going to the end of the race. Away he goes. John Neves, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Now remember, at the beginning of the pit straight, the gap between these two was 8 tenths. It's now 2. Going through turns 4 and 5. That's how powerful DRS is on this circuit. Oh well, in this game as a whole. DRS is ludicrously powerful. So these two will continue to battle for P7. Seems we might have one here for P11, just outside of the point scoring positions. Through the S's quite nicely. Skid missing the apex of turn 10. It's cost him a little bit. Solano is able to pull away, but ultimately it will be for nothing. If Skid can get a good run through Sector 3, he'll be able to line it up on the pit straight. And yeah, he's well and truly close enough. He'll have DRS open. He'll move to the inside. It'll be a very simple overtake, I'd imagine. Unless Solano puts up a fight, in which he does. Well done. Around the outside. You don't see that too often. But ultimately gives up the position. He isn't able to put the traction down on corner exit. But a nice little scrap nonetheless for 11th place. Back up here. Solano gets a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Just looking away and he grabs a warning. And in turn a penalty. Into the hairpin. Turn 13, now into turn 16, then 17. Now he's a lot closer now, Kimmy. I don't think he'll be able to set up a move into turn 1, but I definitely think he'll be able to set up a move into turn 4. Kimmy just sort of placing his car in the rear view mirror of Latouf, just saying, hello mate, right here, this is where I am. DRS open again. Gaining. Latouf goes defensive. He wasn't quite close enough. The Alfa Romeo getting a superb exit out of turn 3. In fact, he's starting to gain on Racer in front. So this might rekindle the three-way battle between these. Racer gets a 3-second time penalty. Incredibly easy to do. We're not even halfway through the race yet. We've still got a lot of racing to go. JFD in the Ferrari through the second sector. Currently battling the Red Bull of John Neves for 9th place into Sector 3. Turn 12, then into turns 13, 14 and 15. Very nicely done. Tifosi, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. Deary me. You'll get DRS, and Neves knows that. He weaves to the inside to try and break the toe. I imagine he'll weave back to the left-hand side of the circuit. Or maybe not, because he might have to go defensive here. He's not quite close enough, JFD. But Neves misses the apex for turn 1, which in turn ruins the entire run through the chicane. If you stuff up even one bit through that chicane, pretty much the entire run through there is ruined. JFD will look to the end contact between the two. Was that wing damage for the Ferrari driver? It doesn't appear to be. I think JFD was kind of in two minds when he was trying to overtake. He wasn't sure whether to actually go for it or just to wait a bit. It was sort of a mixture of both. I don't think John Neves moved on the braking as well. Probably moved a little bit, but I don't think it was enough to be anything to talk about. I could be wrong. But he'll definitely be trying to set up a move here now. Neves doing the same thing again, weaves to the right. Would he weave back? Gaining. He has to stay well judged by the Red Bull, but again misses the apex for turn 1. JFD gets a good run out of the corner. He might be using no traction control as well. JFD. He'll look to the outside. Oh, and a bit more contact between the two. 2 laps in a row, we've seen a little bit of contact for this battle for P9. And these two still need to make another pit stop as well. So this isn't over. We'll look towards this battle though. For P6, currently led by Racer. For Fast, can the mediums make it to the end? I don't think so. It would be a stretch. It would be a very big stretch. I've seen drivers go from softs to mediums, but they typically pit, if memory serves me correctly, about lap 12. Sector 3 yellow flags. That is Solano in the Williams. He's got front wing damage as well. He'll definitely be coming into the pits. And it seems that JFD has finally gotten past John in the Red Bull. Moves himself up into P9. But now Skid has got himself involved in this. Oh, and Neves gets a 3-second time penalty as well. But without DRS, Neves, he isn't able to launch a counter-attack. Excuse me. There's no DRS detection zone in the chicane. So if you get DRS for the pit straight, you get DRS on the second straight as well. Kind of overpowered. Skid now right behind the Red Bull. That's definitely a warning. Without a doubt. We'll go back to that in a minute. Got to have a look at this. Racer, Latouf, Kimi. 6th, 7th and 8th. Into turn 1. Isn't able to find a way past. Look back here. I don't think Neves is quite close enough to launch a move on JFD rather. But here we go. Latouf around the outside of the Williams into turn 4. Then turn 5. He has the inside. Pushed out wide is Racer. Oh, in contact between the two. The back end got loose on the Alfa Romeo, but somehow he was able to catch it. Matti Dernier, a 3-second time penalty. Through the S's. Into sector 3. No one's going to really launch themselves into an overtake here. It's all about setting up for the pit straight. Let's see. It looks like Kimi might be lining up an overtake on the Alpha. Or actually, that Alpha's got some serious straight line speed. Look at that. Pulling away from the McLaren. Here we go. Will he launch himself into an overtake? No, he won't. He'll wait. He'll patiently wait. Sector 2 yellow flags. Doesn't appear to be anything. Racer does well enough to hang on to P6 for now. Only 20 laps in. Only 20. Pretty much got half the race to go. Bit under half of the race to go. Tell you what, we'll have a look at the leaders, because honestly we haven't given them enough camera time, to be honest. But in fairness, nothing's happened here at the front since the start. Fast still leads, but he's actually been hunted down by Alpine on the hard tyre. Now I noticed he had a gap of about 4 seconds, but that shrunk down to about 2.6 on the last lap. So I wonder if he made a mistake. Ooh. Oh my goodness gracious me! Latouf has crashed at pit entry. I noticed the overtake between Kimi and the Alpha, and the Alpha's in. Onto the soft tyre. You won't make it, son. There's no way you'll make it. You were probably better off putting on another set of mediums. I don't think those soft compound tyres, they have to do What is that? That's 15 laps plus lap 21, so 16 laps. Sector 3 yellows, doesn't appear to be anything, and Fass has made his second and final stop onto the medium tyre. Alpoom leads. So that answers your question. Even if I thought he could or couldn't, Fass obviously believes that he can't make it to the end. He's going to come out comfortably in 4th place. It's quite some margin between him and Matthew. Here comes Racer. And what a recovery from Matthew. The drivers in front of him at this stage need to make a second stop. So he'll be coming, once the 2 drivers in front make their pit stop, he'll come out in 5th place, which is a fantastic recovery. Through the S's. Does really well. Does Racer and Kimi. They're fighting hard. They're fighting really hard. Was that a bit of contact again between those two? Oh my word. Just a little bit of contact here, a little bit of contact here, a little bit of contact there. Great stuff. Runs wide out of turn 6. Racer. Now 3-second time penalty. Another one to his name. Now he might actually line up and overtake into turn 12. It is possible. Difficult, but possible. But he's going to wait until he gets DRS on the pit straight. Probably a smart move there by Racer. But let's see. The gap to leader. Oh, whoops. Wrong one. That one. 17.0 seconds. The gap between Alpoom and Fass before the stops was about 3 odd seconds, maybe 2 and a bit. So he's lost effectively about 20 seconds in the stop. He's well behind his teammate. He's well behind being sandwiched as well. 2 stop just hasn't worked out for Fass. Has not worked out well at all. Skid into the pits onto the medium compound tyre. He'll be going to the end. Got a battle for 9th place. Purple. On hard compound tyres as well as Alpoom. That is astonishing. Setting a new fastest lap of 1 minute 17.8 on 14 lap old hard compound tyres. He's done really, really well. Pulling away from his teammate, Fass then obliterates that with a 17.2. He'll be desperately trying to hunt down the 2 drivers in front. I don't think he'll be able to catch Alpoom. Might just be able to catch Being Sandwich and Matthias. But he needs to keep up that sort of pace. Dear me. Ugh. Now, Racer. He's got DRS. He's going to launch an attack on Kimi. Around the outside into turn 4 rather. Kimi gets a switchback. He has the inside. Racer tries to get another switchback. Will he look to the inside of turn 6? He does, and contact. Barges his way through into 5th place. Kimi, he'll now get DRS, I assume, for the pit straight once they cross the DRS detection line. But he's lost quite a bit of time to Racer in front. Oh, a couple of drivers got penalties then. Into the hairpin. Oh, the back end steps out massively for the McLaren. But he hangs on to it. Racer going into the pits. Kimi follows. So these two will continue to battle to the end of the race. Fass desperately trying to hunt down the cars in front. The first of which will be his teammate. I don't think his teammate will put up too much of a fight. I'm sure Matthias knows Fass's situation in the championship. Over the curbs, beautifully flowed over the curbs there. Oh, and look, ladies and gentlemen, let me cast your eyes to the left-hand side of the screen. It's a Racing Point, one. It's Racing Point, Mercedes, Ferrari. Very nice stuff from the top 6. But of course, JFD needs to make another pit stop, so that will soon be ruined. But it's a nice little bit of circumstances. That 1, 2 for Racing Point, 3, 4 for Mercedes-Benz, 5, 6 for Ferrari. Top 3 in the constructors, taking up the top 6 positions in the race. But ultimately, as I said, JFD needs to make another stop as Alpine gets a 3-second time penalty. That's one that could possibly be Fass's saving grace. I'll just check this. Alpine, that's his first 3-second time penalty. What about being sandwiched? Only 2 warnings, no penalties so far. Matthias, same. Fass has got 3 seconds and 2 warnings already. Gets 1 more warning, it's now 6 seconds. Matthew Dernier gets a 3-second time penalty. Fass through turn 16 into turn 17. He's now got his teammate in front. DRS open. What's Matthias going to do? Is he going to let him on by? Is he going to fight? He's going to go down the inside fast. Matthias holds it. Did hold it. He lets him go on through. Into third place. Fass has now got Bean Sandwich in his sights. 3 seconds he has to make up. And then he needs to extend that by another 3 seconds to negate the penalty. Tifosi. A lot of drivers getting 3-second time penalties, dearie me. Speaking of which, Matthias finally gets his first. He's now on level terms with Alpine and Fass. So now 3-second time penalty, dearie me. So in just the second sector alone, he's gained about half a second on Beam Sandwich. Crossing the line. Now 2.2, about 2.2 seconds behind Beam Sandwich, and it seems that Fass has got slightly better straight line speed. It seems. Into turn 1, locking up both front tyres. Through the chicane, flows it through very nicely. 1.6 seconds now the gap. There's Beam Sandwich. Only 1.5 seconds now. Through turn 6. As JFD finally makes his final pit stop. And he's actually going to lose a chunk of positions, it seems. All the way down to 10th place. 11th now. So, Ferrari, they'll have one car in the points. The other car just outside it. Now Fass is within 1 second of Beam Sandwich in the Racing Point. Now Matthias was pretty easy to overtake. I don't think Beam Sandwich would be very easy to overtake. So here we go, DRS open into turn 1. How much time will he gain in this first chicane? Third gear, second gear for turn 2, fourth gear for turn 3. Okay, to really minimise the wheel spin. DRS open. he'll be gaining into the braking zone of turn 4. Getting ever so much closer to the racing point in front. Into turn 6. Short shifts to 3rd gear to really minimise the wheel spin. Into the S's, turn 7, turn 8, turn 9, then turns 10 and 11. Flows it through very nicely. Into turn 12, then turn 13. Into turn 16. And 17. Cross the line. He's got DRS again. Sandwich moves to the right hand side of the circuit. He looks to the outside into turn 1. He'll be deep under brakes. There might be a bit of contact between these two, but Fast forces his way past into 2nd place. He now has to open up a 3-second margin to Sandwich if he wants to hang on to that P2, unless of course Sandwich manages to get a penalty himself. Finally Fast is through. Can he hunt down Alpum? I don't think so. Alpum needs something catastrophic to happen in order for him to lose this lead. Let's see what else is happening. Got Latoup and Andre. Latoup hunting down Andre. Now, there's a big question mark over the Alfa Romeo. I'm not sure if those soft tyres will make it to the end. If they do, then that's something that we all can learn, is how long these soft tyres can actually make it during the race. Right, now he's still clinging onto the back of Andre, so those soft tyres must be still doing some work. Not completely dead just yet. But these two have been battling, it seems, all race. Kimi and Racer, 7th and 6th, battling it out. I'm sure penalties will play a big part in the end of this race as well. I'll probably just check what kind of penalties both drivers have just as soon as they get into the 2nd sector. I don't want to miss out on anything else, as Latoup makes a move actually into P8. It was these three battling for P6. But Latoup had an accident at pit entry. I'm not sure if he was helped or if he just lost it by himself, but regardless, he lost a lot of time, but he's still going and he's in the points. Through the S's they go. Oh, that's what I was going to check. Racer, he's got a few, I know that. Few is an understatement actually. What's that, 9? He's got 18 seconds. Kimi, Kimi's got 3. So I think I know who's finishing 6th in this race. Dear me. Yeah, I think Kimi might be beating Racer. I have a hunch. And Kimi makes a move into turn 1. Finally gets past Racer. He'll get DRS down this 2nd straight as well. So he'll be able to pull further away. Oh, why does this always happen at Mexico? Towards the end of the race, it's just really calm. Not a lot happens, it seems. Always seems to happen at Mexico. It's never this dramatic ending. I mean, Fast could have tried doing the one stop from soft to mediums. As John Neves has left the session, I hope he's able to rejoin. It is possible. I have seen people do it from softs to mediums, but you need to stretch out that soft run to really make it work. He could have tried, for sure. It may have been quite interesting to see how that race would have panned out if Fast and he will have Alpum on similar aged hard compound tyres and seeing that battle take place. But I think Fast probably made the right call, because you don't just think about this race, you have to think about the championship, and by staying out on the mediums you really do increase the chance of getting a puncture, and that means you would lose so much more time, you would lose so much more speed. By doing what he's done, it's ultimately secured him second place. He will get second here in Mexico, so long as he doesn't get another penalty. I'll just quickly check what Fast has got. I'm pretty sure it's still 3. Yep, it's still 3 seconds. And Sandwich, I believe, is still only on 2 warnings. So Fast has already opened up a 5-second lead over being Sandwich. So it seems like, so long as Fast stays within the white lines, he'll get second place, which is as good as a result as he can get, considering the sheer speed that Alpum had. He demonstrated really great pace during qualifying, and he's made the one-stop work. He's made the one-stop work really, really well. Racer gets another 3 seconds, so that's 21 seconds he now has next to his name. Deary me. In fact, Racer has lost a whole heap of time. Has he made a mistake? He must have. He's now 8 seconds behind Kimi. He's got a completely broken front wing as well. Dear oh dear. He'll have to come into the pit lane for sure to get that replaced, and Latup is going to be all over the back of him. Oh, but with nowhere to go, that's the thing. Latup's bound to make a move down the inside here into turn 12. Oh, here comes Andre. Can't really make a move here at the hairpin. Very much follow the leader stuff, sort of stuff. No, Racer's got to try and fight this out. He's got 21 seconds worth of penalties. Ultimately, if he pits or not, he's going to be finishing outside of the points. But through goes Latup and Andre. Latup has proven me wrong. He's keeping those softs alive. Currently in 7th place as well. But it's been a very commanding, very nice drive from Alpum. He has shown the sheer power of the one-stop around Mexico. He's done absolutely superbly. Fast is catching. The gap's now down to about 5.6 seconds. But ultimately Fast just wasn't quite quick enough where it mattered. Alpum would secure a very great victory. Started on pole position by 0.3 of a second, the only driver to qualify in the 1:13s, and has absolutely nailed the one stop, and he will come around the final corner to win the Mexican Grand Prix. BRT Fast will come home in 2nd place, with Being Sandwich coming home in 3rd, I do believe. I don't think he has any sort of penalties No, he doesn't. A great day for Racing Point then, in both the drivers and the manufacturers championships. Now, with that, time to have a look at the points, shall we? And Macedonia, I'll have to give a handout for this guy. After having an accident on lap 1, he's recovered to 5th place. A superb drive from the Ferrari driver. Now, Alpine will score 25 points. If we add 25 to that, be 338. Fast will score 18, I think it is, for 2nd place, if I remember correctly. So if we add 8 to that, 3, 4, 3. So the gap prior to this race was 12 points. The gap now is 5 between the top 2. This has very much become a 2-horse race. Unfortunately for Matthew, this Grand Prix did not go his way, and I think that might be game, set and match for his championship. He might be still mathematically in with a shot, but it seems like he might be out of it. But ladies and gentlemen, your top 3, the podium celebrations begin. After what has been a very nice Mexican Grand Prix. Alpine wins, the fastest 2nd, and home hero Bean Sandwich will come home in 3rd place. But this championship, it is going down to the wire, and we've got 3 very interesting race circuits coming up. But before that, we'll go through the unofficial final results. Alpine wins by 5.1 seconds to BRT Fast, then Bean Sandwich, the home hero, in P3. BRT Matthias in P4, Macedonia recovers to a spectacular P5. Kimi from 10th on the grid all the way up to 6th place, a very solid drive for him and the McLaren team. JFD will come home in 7th, a solid day for Ferrari. Andre in P8 after having an accident on lap 1 as well, dropping him down the order. He finishes in the top 10. Latouf in P9 and LAS Purple rounds out the top 10. Racer, how many penalties did you have? 24 seconds! Holy moly, that is an almighty collection of penalties. Did Fast get fastest lap? He must have too. So that increases the gap slightly to 6 points between the 2 if Fast scored fastest lap. Now, with 3 rounds to go, is 6 points between the top 2. Faust versus Alpine, and we got a great array of circuits coming up. Oh boy, this championship has gone to another level. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that will end round 18 of the Americas Series Championship here on Race Spec Esports. Tune in next week. We go a bit up north towards Austin, Texas. For round 19 of the championship, we go to the United States Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas. Now, I said that the S section here at Mexico City was demanding. The first sector at COTA is a completely different ball game. It's going to be a very interesting race indeed. 3 rounds, 2 drivers, 6 points. Oh boy. You just have to tune in for next week. That's going to be awesome. Until then, I've been the Smeg. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next week at Circuit of the Americas. Good night.